on the blue side, first ban, first pick. At the very least, they'll have that advantage going on for them. And yeah, hopefully we'll see a bit of a change up there, because split push is great. Split pushes are fantastic, but you need to be in the lead. That's the thing.
Well, you need to be able to have your 4v5 actually be able to hold their own, which unfortunately they couldn't in that situation. But Toy with some beautiful grabs, just turning it into a 1v5 situation.
Pretty much.
Melt someone, and there's that ban for him. So for anyone that's just tuning in, this is game number 2 of Quantic versus Dignitas. Dignitas is up by 1 game in the IPL5 wildcard qualifier. 4 teams going in a full round robin. This is set number 4 to see who can actually make it in. Dignitas is going to have 3 matches here today to try to go all the way and get that 16th spot. But a lot of games left for them. They're going to need to keep playing like they were last time and continue that further. We're seeing the bans very similar here for Dignitas. Actually exactly the same. Rise, Gragas, and Twisted Fate.
Yep.
They want to make sure that Wild Turtle stays in that bottom lane, goes for the AD, because I'm a cutie pie doing a good job of shutting him down.
Only champ left open this time around is Katarina. So if Quantic doesn't pick her up here, that is a potential for Dignitas to pick her up. And if you're not up on your player knowledge, I hear Scar is pretty good with Katarina. I think they kind of made a video about it. I don't know. It sounds about right.
A couple videos here and there. I think the first time I saw Katarina in competitive play was actually Skara at IPL3, right when I was starting to get involved in League of Legends.
We all were.
That was pretty exciting.
We all were. Actually, we all started. I know, like you, me, and Rachel, we all started playing like around the same time too. Like right after we all got back from WCG that year.
Well, that was right when I got back from Korea.
That too,
for StarCraft. So I finally had the time to start playing League of Legends, and after that, I have not looked back. I have not played anything else, and I cannot get away from my computer. If I'm not casting, I'm probably playing or reading about the game.
Yeah. I got a stack of like Xbox games like sitting in my apartment. Like they've gone. Most of them are still wrapped. I'm still playing LOL. It's like, oh man, like this.
I don't think I even have Xbox Live anymore. Netflix not good enough.
I kind of actually like regret that I've been neglecting that a little bit, because I saw they started. Well, that's the thing. They started sending out like all these goodies for people who've been subscribed the entire time. Like, oh man, I totally ditched on my Xbox Live subscription because I've been playing League of Legends nonstop for 2 years.
I've got only a slight disappointment there, but you know what? If Netflix partnered up with Riot Games,
oh god,
and I could watch movies or TV shows in between, waiting for queues to go, that would be amazing.
They could pull a WoW and have us play Bejeweled while we're waiting in queue. That would be.
You don't even need to alt-tab anymore then. And maybe you can get some RP or IP based on how well you play.
Forget Star Jeweled, we got League Jeweled. Get that going.
Ooh.
Riot,
that's like ARAM plus Star Jewel combined.
Are you paying attention? We're printing you money here.
They're doing that on their own. But if we take a look at this game, these guys are trying to seize up some of that printed money. Quantic grabbing Nunu. They don't want I Will Dominate to get that once again. But a Hecarim on the other side. We're going to have that jungle pony. A lot of power from him in those team fights. We saw that Dignitas they're able to hold their own in their lanes. If they can increase their power to have a great team composition for the team fights, that's when they're going to be able to just run away with it, or in this case, gallop away and fly with Crumbs in the grabbing Corki for the top lane. Excuse me, for the AD.
I was waiting for the gallop call. I was waiting for it. But that's Hecarim. I personally have actually been seeing a lot of Hecarim in solo queue lately, and he's really. He's been undiscovered for a while. Like I played him a little bit when he came out, but he's now like starting to come back into his own because he has such massive team fight control. And that's the kind of junglers we're actually seeing a lot of these days. Junglers that, you know, one are somewhat okay tanky and building GP10s, but others with team fight control. That's the big ones. You see like a Mumu or a Maokai or a Malphite, or even a Nunu has a lot of team fight control with that ultimate. And Hecarim, that ultimate of his is so effing good
and so annoying if you're on the other side. He is able to get away from a lot of CC, just continuing to allow him to position not only himself but your team if you're on the opposite side of him. That ability, everything about League of Legends when it comes to that 5v5 fight in the current meta is about positioning, keeping your AD safe, making sure AP is able to drop all their cooldowns immediately, and then stay in a relatively safe spot so they can go for a second or third round of their abilities. And with I Will Dominate on Hecarim, that's just going to make it even more likely for Dignitas No Katarina play coming out quite yet, but just sticking with the Anivia, it's working extremely well for them. It gives them the ability to have a lot of potential to accelerate a lead if they get it early on. If they don't, they have the ability to slow down the enemy push, delay it to the ultra late game where they can start to come back ever so slightly over time.
And the thing is, I like the Anivia being picked up here again for Skara, because what that does is that Quantic, they still have yet to pick their AP, and picking up the Anivia at the very least restricts Quantic from picking up the unbanned Katarina. Because, well, first off, Skara, he's been playing Katarina for a long time. I think he knows how to play against her.
Just
and two, Anivia is a great champ against Katarina too, because Katarina, that greatly reduces the part. That's Kassadin coming in for Quantic. Interesting.
Huh.
Interesting. We've seen some Kassadin play come in before they disbanded, like the number one Kassadin players for NA at least were Legion. But Kassadin, he's very interesting. He has a very weak early game. He uses up a lot of mana quickly, but then again, to an extent, so does Anivia. But Anivia is also, in the hopes of spamming about a lot of abilities. Well, Kassadin may do okay. Not quite. Well, it's going to be an interesting mid lane. That much I can say.
Yeah, and that mid lane will start to roam around once Kassadin hits level 6.
Oh,
Maybe we might see a little bit of corn salad being channeled through here, going for that Magi Soul Stealer on Kassadin.
Oh, man.
If he can get an early kill or two and then get the Soul Stealer, he can start to snowball ridiculously. And I guess that's what Quantic might be looking for. It looks like it's going to be a wild... Oh, maybe it was actually not really Kassadin.
We'll
so
see.
for anyone that doesn't know
We'll
what's
see.
going on here, they... Oh, raise my hands. That's what's happening. Whenever a team doesn't have all the champions they want for the players, because this is the live realm, they don't have every single champion unlocked.
Right.
They'll choose a placeholder, they'll let the other team know, and then they'll remake the game with the proper champions. So that's what it looks like is going to happen.
And we're just double checking to make sure that none of them were actually placeholders.
Yeah, a picture was linked by Cutie Pie. I kind of want to look at it, but I kind of don't at the same time.
Dude, Cutie Pie, at the very least, for as much as I know of Cutie Pie, he's a massive troll. That could be anything. That could be anything, really.
All right, we'll have to ask him about it later. In the meantime, we're going to get back into Champion Select, see if there was a placeholder for anyone, or if they're going to spell out anything fun with their fake bans here.
The EU guys this morning, when they were spelling out stuff with their bans, they kept it clean.
TSM versus CLG.
TSM versus CLG.
But with Wild Turtle and Crumbs, I think we have a good chance of keeping it PG.
I don't.
No?
I don't.
No? All right.
I'm not. I don't have as much faith.
What's it?
Yeah, you know what? Well, are they gonna really? Are you gonna be
one
doing that?
named a StarCraft player?
Well, also true.
So we're okay with the first one. Still a lot.
Well, it's only 3 of the. You know what? Screw it. Let's just go. Those are not indeed the bans. To recap the real bans, Dignitas banned out Rise, Gragas, and Twisted Fate. Same bans they had game number 1. A lot of those aims square at Wild Turtle, who is actually going to be returning to the mid this game. So he's going to be actually running Kassadin this time around. It's not going to be an AD Turtle. Quantic this time, banning out the Diana, Blitzcrank, and Rengar. They decided to not ban Cat this time. Blitzcrank was too much of a problem for him last game. You might as well take him out. And now with all these champs selected, and also that Twitch was a placeholder. Cutie Pie was actually telling us the truth in chat. So there's a Vayne instead of the Twitch.
Yeah, so the Vayne Nunu, that's going to be pretty ridiculous when it gets to late game. Grabbing the cleanse, at least for now, and a heal. So really trying to keep the sustainability for Vayne, not be very aggressive whatsoever early on. Gonna be good for the end. If what we were talking about before is if Dignitas loses anything, they're gonna need to use Scar's ability to just keep that wall up, slow down the enemy champions when they're trying to push a specific lane, push it into the point where they can start to come back. But as they start pushing into the late game, that means the Intanso is going to get even more fed on Vayne, be that much more of a hyper carry in the late game. So they've got a nice ability to kind of counteract that as well. And with Kassadin, he's going to be focused on that early to mid game, but everyone else has a full cohesive picture available to them.
I'm as soon as that countdown goes down, I gotta go over to see look at Turtle's rune pages and stuff, because I played a lot of Kassadin many months ago. I want to see how he builds him actually. Magic Pen, Magic Resist, some AP and armor. Nothing too unusual there. You got to have a little bit of armor on your AP mid, especially if you have melee range one like Castle. Let's take a look at the masteries. Kind of should standard fare. 21.09 was wanting to see if there's anything. And that's the thing. We're starting to see that a lot on some AP mids just to get that extra 3 attack damage. Because let's face it, going full on 4 for that ability power, that doesn't, early on in the game, it's kind of like only 4 AP. What does that do? At the very least, getting that extra 3 attack damage, it does help out with your laning phase, with your farming.
Yeah, to help with your farm. Also, your auto attack trading is going to be that much better.
Yes.
Just every little bit you can get an advantage early on. Anytime you get free damage, that's what's going to win lanes, if you want to quote Hotshot. These pros, they really need to just, like, their job is just to find out what little advantage they can squeeze out from masteries, from runes, from positioning. As the game gets more understood and more figured out, one slight point in the right spot versus another can determine victory versus defeat.
And that's going to be huge, too, once we get into Season 3, once the masteries get reworked, because there's going to be a good month or two where even some of the pro teams, they're going to be going to tournaments, they're going to be looking at their mastery pages, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
I wouldn't go that far. But
I have no idea where
they're not
I want to build. I have no idea what the optimal build
Exactly,
is.
yeah. They're not going to have the perfect situation because they don't know the perfect. But also keep in mind that when you guys are playing your own normal games or ranked games or whatever, have an open mind. If someone comes in and says, hey, I got this really good idea for a strategy, here's why I think it's a good idea, give them a chance. Listen to it. Talk it through with them. But then also on the other side, if you're one of those people that thinks you have a good idea, you don't necessarily. So always go into it. Be very friendly if you want to try to actually have a good game. Be the positive influence on the community, and the community will be positive to you.
Yep. I'm going to get to a quick story, but first I want to look at Heckram here. Oh, I think we actually had a DC there. So they actually left the game within the first 2 minutes, so there's a bit of an error. So how about this? We're going to go to a quick commercial break while we actually get the game remade. We already have the picks and bans sorted in, but how about this? We'll be right back in just a little bit, guys. Game error. We'll be back in Dignitas and Quantic. Game number 2 coming up in just a little bit. We'll be right back.
And we are back. Sorry about that delay, guys. The game actually just kind of closed down for all the players. We weren't able to get into spectate it. They had to remake. We had to wait for the 3-minute spectator delay and all their champion picks and all that fun stuff.
But we're here.
But we are here.
Let's do it. We got Dignitas and Quantic. Game number 2. If Dignitas wins this one, they will take the series 2-0. And also remember, after this set, Dignitas will be playing again, but against CLG Prime. That's going to be a big one. But if CLG can actually win that game, though, they will win the group. But if Dignitas beats them, though, that can make it for a very interesting situation. But as I've said before, we got to get through this one first. And right now, all of Dignitas leading the pack. Heckram out in front.
Welcome to
Dominate wants to get all that vision. The horse head. The headless horseman, Heckram. A little bit of a tongue twister there, but it's okay. We got it. And Cutie Pie over there out running point, out in front of that brush. Quantic, though, they're playing a little bit safe. Turtle out there in med. He's only playing AP this time around. High L9 grabbing the tri-ramp area. Wants to make sure there's nothing too crazy going on. Lemon Nation rushing on in, actually getting that nice offensive ward over by the Wraith Camp. He may be able to steal, but the Turtle, though, a little bit too far out in front. What were you doing? I got to look at that again. That was just, like, what happened?
Yeah, he was putting up a little aggression. He saw that a lot of Dignitas was going for Nunu. Gets caught there. Why did he get caught? He was dodging it in the right direction. That's going to be a dead Turtle. Not looking too good. You want to snowball cast it, not the other way around. It's going to be a little unfortunate for him. He's actually going to be not starting out where he wants.
Yeah, that's... You gave a free kill to your lane opponent. Scar's already halfway to that tier of the goddess. Everyone got an assist on that. Are they just like spamming GG in chat or something? Yeah, we do it for you, Scar. We do it for you. that's a respect kill. That's like, you know, Scar's the Godfather. It was like, you know, they're paying they're paying homage to.
Yeah, definitely the dues going on.
Have this kill.
Have this kill. before we come back and destroy you after it. So a lot of confidence coming out here from Turtle. You know, I actually heard a strategy. This obviously not serious. Don't try this at home. Where you feed your lane opponent 3 kills, and then there's that bounty gold on their head, and then you take it back from them. And you kind of balance things out a little bit. It looks a little bit worse in the score, but you're not too far behind in gold. Maybe that's what Turtle's going for.
You gotta be real good to get that, man.
Yep.
But
he's got to get his Magi's before he goes for the kills.
He's got to get his Magi's before he does that first. But we have seen Wild Turtle in the mid before. We've seen him do amazing things in the mid, and hopefully that first kill will not be too much of a setback for him. But we'll see how the rest of it pans out. Got Crumbs here in the top lane going up against Yuzuki Aurelia versus Shen. Also seeing the Lulu support here on Patoy, and we've said it before, Lulu is usually indicative of a bit of a push strat, and we're seeing that Cutie Pie actually getting a little bit aggressive there, but nothing too huge just yet. Nunu going to be running here into support, but you got the Malphite running on around High L9. We'll see if he can actually make any big plays in the next few minutes. If you can get that slowed down onto the Nivy, that'd be great. But you see Dominic actually positioning himself here in the top lane. Intenso getting chunked out huge. Those Glitter Lances are just a little bit too strong.
Yeah, Glitter Lances are great for pushing up the lane, getting it closer and closer to where they want it to be. They don't know where High L9 is, however, but he is actually in the jungle, stealing the wolves away from the horse. That's going to give him a little bit of extra experience, allow him to come in here. If he can get a kill on Scara or even pop that early egg, that could be pretty big for Wild Turtle in the mid. Oh, not able to even get in. That's a difficulty of having a melee champion, especially against Anivia. Can't get in, get the CS early on, but if you can dodge just a little bit, that's going to give him an advantage. He's going to be able to pick up 2 out of those 6 minions.
If I remember correctly, I think Anivia, among AP mids, I believe has the longest attack range. Correct me if I'm wrong. But even then, yeah, it's a range versus a melee. And Kassadin, he has a lot of issues in the early game. His early game is one of the worst. He has to use a lot of his abilities just to farm underneath tower, which you see he's doing right now. His mana pool is dwindling quickly. Once he hits 6, things get a little better. Once he starts getting some big mana items, things get a little better. But for now, though, with that extra kill, Scar is just pushing his weight around.
And in the bottom lane, so much damage coming out from IPL5, a lot of poke from him, but talking about mana, once again, Patoy almost completely out. He's got that Fairy Charm, so if they stick around for a while, you'll be able to get a little bit more. But it doesn't matter. They were able to push him out of lane.
There is the Shard coming in to reduce the movement speed on Crumbs. You got the Ignite also in Yuzuki with one more quick swipe, able to take the kill onto Crumbs there in top with a little help from High L9. While Turtle is ignited, auto attack, something will the Ignite take down. Scar has the flash out of turret range, but the Ignite was not enough. Wild Turtle chugging that health potion manages to stay alive, but here comes High. Scar is a little bit too forced out. He does still have the egg, so it's going to be a little bit tougher to bring him down if they even can. Here comes High L9. Where is the Q? There's the slow. Scar turning tail running. There's a stun, point blank. Something more flash. Want to get the auto attack. Scar now egged inside the brush. Wild Turtle is here. Throws on the Ignite on the egg. Can they get the kill? Yeah, they actually can. Turtle getting that revenge kill.
Yeah, nice breakfast there for Wild Turtle. That's going to even out. Not quite allowing him to get that bounty gold completely like we were talking about before.
We're not going to get that full gameplay.
A nice glimpse of it. I will dominate coming down to hold the lane for a little while. That's going to allow him to make sure that the rest of the team does not lose any of the gold. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, I'm a Cutie Pie and Patoy completely muscling out Niantanso's Vayne. It's going to give them a little bit of an advantage there in the bottom lane. But overall, down by 200 gold 6 minutes in. A lot slower of a game than we saw from last game for these guys.
Yep. So with all the gold that both of our mids have been accruing, you got the catalyst over there on Anivia. Going to be going through the Rod of Ages first, not too uncommon to see. But you have the chalice being picked up there for Kassadin. He's going to be needing that mana regen massively. He's going to be needing that magic resist.
Yep.
Huge. Even though his passive already provides him with a bunch of it, it can never hurt to have a little bit more. He's going to also need that regen if he wants to continue the farm, because he's been pushed up to tower nearly this entire game so far, and Scar is looking to continue that, actually.
We'll have to see if that continues. He is going to need that blue buff, which is going to be up in about 30 seconds here. When he grabs that, that's going to be the trigger for Wild Turtle that says, okay, about to hit level 6. When I do, that's when I can start roaming. If Scarra leaves the lane, he has a little bit more flexibility to lead the lane as well. And if he can keep the pressure on Crumbs, potentially in the top lane, or go down and kind of help out Nian in the bottom lane, that will be very good for Quantic overall. Again, they're up by 200 gold. Not a sizable lead, but the fact that they're in any advantage whatsoever is very good, seeing as they lost that first blood earlier on. Turtle gonna go in for the kill. He has hit level 6, gonna try to do a lot of damage, but Scar's level 6 as well. Heil9 gonna go in for the kill. There's no egg here for Scar. Scar does fall. Turtle gonna try to get out here. He is exhausted, not gonna be able to run away from the pony completely. He falls down as well, but Heil9 versus I Will Dominate. Both junglers going one-on-one. Gonna be able to get away, not actually able to turn that into another kill. Pretty good overall for Dignitas. They were able to turn that gold lead. That was 200 for Quantic. Now it's 100 for Dignitas, so 300 advantage overall.
And that was a little unfortunate too. Hai just got caught within those minions, couldn't get away as much as he'd like to. But Hai now transitioning down here in the bot. Literally, it's actually getting both the Malphite and the Nunu. Gonna keep the distance wide. Lamination with the ice ball onto the Lulu in the brush. Heil9 should be able to recall safely in the other one. But with both of those mids going down, they did have an opportunity to back. You got Casson, he's got that tome, probably going to be working in for that Athenes. But there's the Null Magic Mantle there on to Scar, acknowledging that Turtle does have quite a bit of damage very early on. He needs to try and resist as much as possible, or at the very least, stall enough until the egg comes back so he can make his plays. Once again, Crumbs trying to flash out away from Yuzuki. Flashes in response, wants to pursue, wants to get the kill with the ultimate, but cannot. Crumbs throwing down the Ignite just in retaliation. Trying to see if he can't put on a little bit more damage for Dominate to actually pick up on. But Yuzuki, though, a little bit too slippery, does return back to the tier 1 and top and should be able to recall, or at the very least, farm up a pretty nice wave that's actually been gathering over by the tier 1.
This is a nice thought from the Quantic bottom lane. They're constantly taking out the mini golems, giving a little bit more gold to Niantanso. That Blood Boil going to continue to help him out as well, forcing I Am a Cutie Pie out of lane momentarily, but Patoy dropping the Wild Growth onto himself, going to slow down Niantanso. That's going to force a flash and a death for him. It looks like it's going to turn into a double kill. Is Patoy going to grab it, or is it going to go to I Am Cutie Pie? No, he is going to be a good support and give it to his AD. One kill for each of them. That's a great start. The Sheen on I'm a Cutie Pie is going to allow them to continue to just do a ton of damage as they're trading every single time. 3,000 gold to, what is it, for, yeah, almost 1,000 gold lead there for the AD in the bottom lane. That's going to start snowballing ridiculously. We were talking about before of the advantages of being able to move in multiple lanes, having Niantanso play both AD and AP carry. The only issue is that when you're playing in a series, you might not get as momentous, I don't know how to say that, as you would like, and that makes it a little bit more difficult to, on the fly, switch things up. You need to be warmed up properly so that you know exactly when to trade, when not to. Didn't quite make the right decisions in the beginning of this game.
But it's still not too huge of a lead to come back from. It's 1K. And we're on the 11th minute. It's still very early on. There's still a lot of ways Quantic can still maneuver. As we mentioned before, Casson, Wild Turtle, he is 6 now. He can decide to roam if he wants. He'd be like, "Hi, take care of mid for me. I'm gonna go on a little vacation. I gotta go check on my buddies down here in bot lane, see how they're doing."
Yep.
But that could be a huge indicator. Scar up, Dignitas. Here's the thing with Crumbs. We actually saw the shield from Crumbs earlier go down onto the mid lane, onto Scar to try and protect him from that kill. The shield was not high enough to actually keep him alive. But remember though that wherever Quantic roams, as long as that ult is up, Shen is going to be there.
Yep. The great presence potential from those global ults has a huge impact on this game. We saw a trend a little while ago where it was all about the global ults, getting Karthus, getting Soraka, having Shen for the split pushing. Now it's starting to shift up a little bit because the focus is about doing the early pushes in lanes before people even hit level 6. And then once you hit that point, you start rotating more for the 5v5s, have a little bit more potential on the split pushing. But Crumbs here, he's going to get dove by 3 players of Quantic. He's going to get taken down pretty quick. Meanwhile, Dignitas realized what was going on, are trading him for the Dragon, but the turret they have in the top lane, that's going to fall as well with a huge minion wave here, one with the siege minions. And it's really going to be a lot of pressure on this Quantic bottom lane and the Dignitas bottom lane to even out things a little bit further for the game.
While the tier 1 and top may fall, the mid tier 1 Scar and Dominate should be able to actually take it on their own. So this is a massive net gain actually for Dignitas. A lot of objectives back to back, plus the Dragon. It's pretty much like inconsequential, the kill on the Crumbs in the top lane, because Dignitas gained so much more. So many members of Quantic being displaced, and QTPie is actually going to take out the bot tier 1 also. So much global gold. It's a 3K lead now in just a matter of 2 minutes. Eked out by Dignitas. Fantastic.
Yeah, that's what happens when you see an entire team of Quantic in the top lane. You're able to push down both the top and the mid and the bottom turrets, grab that dragon, grab a kill here and there, even it up overall for the kills, but your gold is going to be way higher. 3,000 gold in the right hands for Dignitas is going to be amazing, especially since we're seeing that they're grabbing 4 and almost 5 gold per 10 items here. That's going to allow them to continue to build that advantage over to the late game like we were talking about before. If they don't get the lead earlier on, which they actually have it, if they don't hold on to it, they're still having a pretty good late game plan.
Yep. I also got to say too is that Quantic, they're doing an okay job of actually keeping things somewhat steady, because most of the gold, pretty much nearly all of the gold advantage here for Dignitas is actually between the ADs. That's about like 1,300 gold. Corki has over Vayne. You see Cassin there in the mid is actually doing a very fine job of actually catching up to Skara. So Walter was actually doing all right. I'm not sure if we're quite Magi's level.
Not quite yet.
Not quite yet, but we may see it.
He's got 3 kills. He's halfway to making it efficient.
The two deaths, I mean, let's forget about those.
Oh, and Skara there. He does get jumped on by Yuzuki. That's going to be a huge initiation for Heil9 and Wild Turtle as well. They want to kill Skara. If they could take him out, that's a lot of the damage. But no, Crumbs is coming in, dropping the shield on. They're reversing this around onto Quantic. It looks like Heil9 might be the first one to go down to the Ignite of Skara. Skara put into egg form. Crumbs being left out on his own with I Will Dominate, but Patoy coming in at exactly the right moment, grabbing the Wild Growth. That's going to turn into an ace here for Dignitas.
Wow.
Only exchanging Crumbs in the fight. Great situation for them. What was a 3K gold lead is now almost a 5,000 gold lead, and a huge advantage for them to go for some early objective here.
Yeah, we are taking a look at that whole fight again, because that was a pretty interesting start, and it all starts here. Heil9 he used the ultimate, got the pop-up actually onto the blue golem. Scar does get caught out here though. Yuzuki in pursuit. There's the Shen ult, but this time Scar does not actually die, allows Shen to actually get into the fight, and everyone pigeonholed, all of Quantic contained in this small area. They cannot leave through this area because Scar is about to revive and Dominate's blocking the path. Crumbs kills time for everyone, and this huge AoE, the ultimate from Anivia, wrecking everyone because Scar's got that blue buff.
A lot of damage potential coming out from Quantic. They initiated well, but they initiated in a very unfortunate position for them. They were not able to have an escape route, and with that, it's not something you want to give to a Dignitas lineup.
No, you do not.
They have so much AoE like you're talking about, and the ability to just chase down whoever they need to, kind of like right now. Stun going off on QTPie as he gets condemned against the wall, but it doesn't matter. The point is there that in a one-on-one situation, if QTPie gets the jump onto Neon, Neon's going to be toast.
And is actually also going to be finding out a turtle here in his midst too. There's the Shen taunt coming on in, killing off time for QTPie to get the Valkyrie over the wall, but Turtle with the Rift Walk in pursuit manages to pick that one up. He comes in from behind the tier 1 down in bot, takes a few turret shots, shift over tanking duties to Nunu, but Crumbs has way too much health at this point. He's way too tanky. Quantic needs to wait for the wave. They have to take down that tower first. Yuzuki here in the top lane, using the ultimate, push down the wave just a little bit, try to keep Dominate busy on his own with a few free swipes of the sword for a little bit extra harass damage. Skara, egg still down, should be coming back up in just a minute or so. Meanwhile, Turtle is looking hungry. He already got that 1 kill down there in bot. He wants a few more. He needs that gold. How much has he got for him? He's got about 700. He can use a little bit more than that. He needs those tier 2 boots. That he needs for sure.
Absolutely. He's going to need to be able to reposition in these fights a little bit nicer. We're seeing the start of the Phage turning into the Trinity Force for Aurelia in the top lane, but that's just barely the start. 16.5 minutes into the game. Last game, a Trinity Force was done, a Bloodthirster was done. They were a lot further ahead because they were able to chunk down a lot of the global objectives. We only see 1 turret taken down by Quantic this game, only the Dragon going in favor of Dignitas. So not nearly the same overall gold pool available to Quantic, and they're not completely compensating for it, especially since they've got a champion in the Wild Turtles, Cassidy, that he's going to be kind of focusing on that beginning and middle game. Got 5 kills, which is great, but that's 5 out of the 6 kills for his team. He's not allowing any of the rest of his players to get that gold, get any assists really going on, and it's going to start to hurt them, and we're starting to see that as well when they come into those 5v5s.
Yep. And at this point, Dignitas should be very clear in the know that if you manage to take out the Wild Turtle, if you take out the Cassin, you should be able to clean up the rest of the fight. And they have a lot of champs that are going to be very good at controlling the fights to try and keep him contained. Dominate on his own. If he gets that ultimate straight to the back line and gets the fear on the Cassin, that should actually be enough straight up for the kill. Or Elimination could also get caught here on the tri-ramp. You got Hackram with the ultimate just because Elimination tries to throw down the ult for a little bit extra damage, which is not going to do a whole lot. You got the Malphite ult down on the Scar. He's going to be popped up. May actually be killed here. I don't think he has the hang back quite yet. He does not. Yuzuki, he does get that kill, but the rest of Dignitas gets the revenge. Dominate with the charge. Wants to continue the pursuit onto high L9. He does not have a phage, but he can still do quite a bit of chase and also kill time for Crumbs to come in with the taunt. Down on the Malphite, flashes over the wall, back into the jungle over by their blue buff. And Dignitas happy with that one. They got 2 kills and 2 other champs very low. They only lost Skara, and the Dragon just happens to be right back up, and they should be taking that one pretty easy.
Dignitas continuing to win these team fights. They have the ability for Patoy to kind of add a little bit of extra health where they need to. They've got Crumbs on Shen, able to throw down the shield as well. The one flaw I see in Dignitas' play, which they might have a huge issue when they play against CLG right after this, is that they're not getting in early oracles. It's almost 20 minutes into the game. They have 0 intelligence countering ability on their team. They're grabbing a couple pink wards, which costs a little bit extra. Granted, a little less than an Oracle's, but it doesn't last nearly as long, and it's not giving them the ability to counteract the vision from Quantic. Quantic, on the other hand, is not really using that advantage to their benefit, but the fact that Dignitas is not predicting and planning for what another team might do in these situations is kind of a deficit as they move into the future.
Yeah. It is a big preference thing, though, the thing between picking between the pink wards and the oracles. Sometimes, like I personally, sometimes when I play support, if I've racked up a few more deaths than I'd like, or if I feel that I may be brought down very quickly in those team fights, sometimes I'll actually go for the pink wards as opposed to the oracles. If I feel I'm safe, I may actually end up going for the oracles pretty early on, like as soon as the laning phase is over. But you look at Dignitas' team, they're very up close and personal. They're very in your face. Even Lulu is actually going to be getting a little bit too close to the fight just to throw down those glitter lances. So I think just in their situation at the present moment, going for the pink wards instead of the oracles is actually a pretty good call.
Yeah, now Patoy, now that they see they're going to start going for the Baron, he has picked up that Oracle. So, yes, they're getting it. It's just a little bit later than I would have liked to see against a team that's using the intelligence a little bit more. We're seeing a lot of vision available for Dignitas, which is what they're starting to use. And that's where a lot of these potential ganks are coming from.
Yep. So yeah, so now confident in their position, there is the Oracles on Lulu. They got that quick kill onto Yuzuki, cornered up against the wall. He had nowhere to go. And there is the Anivia ult blocking the path. Crumbs, nice taunt on the 3 members of Quantic. And there is Cassidy immediately out of the fight. Can they hurry up and catch him? Yes, they can. QPie getting a kill. Credit on that one. Hell Knight and Elimination, they're all in full retreat. Vayne got cornered out off into the jungle. And that's 2 more kills stacked on top of the Aurelia kill earlier. Dignitas is still all up. They're still all healthy. Crumbs out in front. This is a 21-minute Baron attempt. And I can't think of anything that Quantic can really do to try and stop this apart from maybe a flash consume from Nunu. But it's unfortunate because he's got exhaust heal, so it's not really going to happen. And even then, the melt absolutely melts outside of the Baron pit. High L9 cannot leave either Lulu the Wild Growth, and that's going to be an Oracles down for Quantic too. With that kill, Dignitas is just throwing Quantic around like a ragdoll.
All started with that kill that Scar was able to get in that mid lane. Quantic was able to even it out, bring it up into an advantage, but I'm not sure they realized they had the advantage and how they were playing from then on.
Right.
Not completely safe. They were giving up concessions here and there, which Dignitas knew how to take advantage of. When Quantic went for the top turret, Dignitas took both the middle and the bottom turret. So just every single time there's a trade going on, slowly going in Dignitas' favor. And now they're up by almost 7,000 gold 22 minutes into the game, not even needing that Baron to be able to start pushing.
Yeah, they could theoretically actually finish the game without it if they really wanted to. It'd be the safe thing to do if you can actually just squeak it out. Get one. The next time a kill goes into Dignitas' favor, the next time they have a good fight where you actually take 1 or 2 members of that Quantic, then they now have the damage. They've bought up plenty of items to just take that thing down quickly, and they can just push for the win straight out. Dominate's actually up on his own. He's just making sure the wave is pushed here top. He can actually get the tier 1 pretty much on his own. Even if Yuzuki comes on in, they'll be able to run out. I mean, he's got 4 legs. That's pretty fast. Look at that.
4 legs greater than 2 must go faster.
Must go faster.
If you take a look at the itemization that's coming out from Dignitas, they've got that split pushing potential out of Shen with the Sunfire Cape. A little bit of pause coming. We'll figure out what that is in a little bit.
Great time to look at the items.
At the moment, Skara, he grabbed that Elixir of Brilliance. That's indicative that they want to have a push that 4 minutes after that they pop that item.
Right.
It's something that you're getting the most effectiveness you can out of your gold, but only for a short period of time. And that period of time is what this team is saying is the critical moment. If they can continue to take their lead, that could be the game winner right there. And we see this out of a lot of the Asian teams, that when they see the moment to go for it, they're going to all buy whatever elixirs they can, go for that final push. On the European side, it's more go for the Guardian's Angel right when they're about to go for that final push and make sure they have the ability that if someone gets caught out just barely, it's not as risky of a situation as if you didn't have that little get-out-of-jail-free card.
And also, again, on the Scar's build, he's had that Catalyst for quite a while, and usually you would traditionally see that build very early on into a Rod of Ages or something of the like. But he's been doing so well. He's like, you know what, I don't really need to fully build into it. I've got enough money for a needlessly large rod. Screw it, I'll just buy that instead. That's plenty of damage too.
Yeah, that's going to be a pretty good chunk of change coming out from them, especially in that AoE for Anivia. On the other side, we see that Cutie Pie is also doing pretty well. The farm overall for these players is relatively low to what we see in other pro matches, but that's just because there's been so much team fighting going on.
Oh, yeah.
There's 23 kills overall. A little bit of a hold-up asked for by Scar. He wants to make sure that he checks the stream, knows that it's a good time to push, and they go for it.
I hope not.
Hopefully not actually true.
And that's bad.
Some of these guys might actually be streaming first-person views. If you want to see what they're doing or hear any of the team chat, definitely go check those out on Twitch TV. Just the more we can do to support all the players, the bigger the scene's going to get, the bigger everyone, or the more everyone benefits. So do your little part and just watch what you can, and also provide feedback. Say what you like, say what you don't like, and we can improve that for you. The players can improve their fan experiences that they provide you as well.
Yep.
Can't necessarily prove their play. So don't go out there and be like, oh, you're a terrible player. Change this.
Yeah, never.
They're already going to be trying to do that.
Yeah,
so.
that's already implied. It's just that's the idea to always do better next time, even if win or lose regardless.
Yep.
That's always the end goal. And even if you ever get a chance to tune in, sit down and watch Scar's stream. I know he doesn't stream a whole lot in comparison to other pros, but when he does, he is just a bank. He is the first national League of Legends information bank, that dude. Like, it's like you will learn something from him every 5 minutes, whether you like it or not, about League of Legends.
Every 5 minutes. I think it's every like 10 to 15 seconds. But either way, watching the pros and listening to some of these pros that are commentating about their games, letting you know exactly what the actions they're taking and why, that's how you start to learn, and that's how you become a better player.
So let's take a look a little bit at the items over on Quantic side to see how everyone's doing, because right now all the kills counted up, all the deaths, I mean. Well, actually both. It's a little bit. It's not the best in the world. You see Vayne 030, no kills, no assists, no contributions to the team whatsoever. And we talked a little bit about this earlier. Wild Turtle, he's got pretty much he's contributed to the vast majority of all the team's kills, but he's also kept 5 of the 7 on his own. So a lot of Quantic's faith is actually riding on that Kassadin and make sure that he doesn't get forced out of those team fights too early, which unfortunately during that last big one he was pieced out near immediately. He was brought down to like 100 health, had the Rift walk out, and still died even after clearing distance. So hopefully he'll be able to stick around those fights a little while longer. But Toy, with that Oracle squaring off the wards out in front of the Baron, that is the next logical objective to pursue. As soon as Dignitas is done pushing lanes, there's the Malphite ult, getting nothing on that, going, trying to get through Corki. Crumbs getting a taunt off too, but Quantic, they know they don't want to stick around. If they're not getting anything off that initial fight, they need to back off. But that is an ultimate blown from High L9. Their major form of initiation on Quantic is gonna be down for quite some time. The Intenso getting caught behind that wall. They got Dominate making a nuisance of himself. He's got the wall growth on him too. Elimination out in front with the new ultimate. It's not gonna be enough. You got Crumbs taunting 2 members of Quantic underneath their own tier 2 in the mid. Aurelia throwing down the ultimate, trying to quit him anyway, but there's High L9. Polymorphed double kill for Skara on Anivia. And that is another quick 3 kills in succession by Dignitas. They're all still alive. Crumbs and Dominate, they're not the healthiest right now, but in comparison to Quantic, they're actually doing all right. Izuki being forced back, flash out beyond his inhibitor. Wild Turtle, no! Skara with the ultimate, able to take him out underneath the Nexus turrets. Skara taking the turret like a boss. Here's the mini wave for support. They can grab the tier 3 and mid. They can even get the inhibitor if time allows. A lot of them are low though. They're gonna play it safe. They're gonna back off. Lulu going pretty fast, and there's also the ultimate and the wall from Skara to keep Quantic behind. Very well played.
And that bird is going to fly away completely safely. She did pop her elixir, but not until they started to go for that first dive on the turret. They wanted to save it just in case they needed to disengage. If they lost even a single player, don't use it quite yet. Just back off, wait for them to come up, save that item for the next push. However, if you keep in mind, Dignitas pushed in all the way to the inhibitor, but they didn't take the inhibitor.
Right.
And now that Quantic is respawned, they're making the right decision here. It's pretty much go big or go home at this point. They're going to try to go for the Baron. A snowball or an ice blast is coming in from Skara. Not quite able to turn it into anything, but that's going to be the initiation onto IPL5. He overextended a little bit too far. They prevented the Baron attempt, but the thing is, it's only 25 minutes into the game. It's not going to be an instant take from the Quantic anyway. And oh my god, Wild Turtle coming in there, doing something crazy. He's going to be able to pick up another kill. That's both carries removed for Dignitas. It's still a risky situation for Quantic.
Oh, no.
The Wild Growth is going to come out here. They're going to be able to pick up the Baron steal as well. Nice job by I Will Dominate in the jungle, but he's going to sacrifice himself to make it happen. 2 kills to 3 at the moment. The Baron's still on Patoy and Crumbs. They don't have the damage available, however, to make anything happen. They're going to go for the safety of their turret, and that turret is going to pay off big for them. A little bit of healing. Oh no, the tanking, beautiful for Quantic. Nian gets the kill. He's going to be able to turn it around for the double as he condemns Crumbs into the wall. No, he cannot. Crumbs turning it around on him. Nice. That's going to be a double for Crumbs. Wow, he's going to be able to follow this up a little bit. Doesn't quite have the movement speed to be able to catch up to High L9, but that's going to be...
He's going to try.
It's going to be risky. He does have IPL5 in the area. He's the only one left, however, with that Baron buff.
If he can get a taunt Vorpal Blade and actually get the kill on High L9, I'll be very impressed. But there's Izuki, though. He knows he can't stick around for very long, has to taunt the other way. But, man, fantastic series of events. And that was a little bit of inattention there on Quantic, because the Baron got to the danger zone. It got to the 3-digit mark health, and High L9 was just not on point with the smite. Dominate, perfect position, gets right out in front, and bam, gets it.
Aside from that Baron steal, Quantic played that beautifully. They saw the one key opportunity for them to go for the Baron, pick it up, and bring themselves back into the game. If they'd gotten it, that fight would have turned completely differently. They could have actually possibly pushed in for an inhibitor. They've only got 2 turrets down at the moment, but if they were able to take down a single lane, that would open up a lot of extra gold for their team and allow them to come back in. But currently, 27 minutes in, they're down by 13 kills, and that 13 kills is 13,000 gold reflected as well. That's a huge lead here for Dignitas, something that they know they can make mistakes here. They know that throwing a game is always a possibility. They don't want it to happen. They're going to tighten up their play a little bit further now. The boots of mobility on Patoy, allowing him to just continue to move around. He picked up another Oracles, and we got a couple more elixirs on the Dignitas team as well.
We got a blue on Anivia, you got a red on Corki, so a little more extra damage and health. And also, not to mention, he may not have an elixir, but he does have an ultimate. Shen, Crumbs, down in the bot lane. He's going to be pushing that down. Here's the split push action that we're expecting to see. So Crumbs can push all day, the entire time he wants to. And while the rest of the team pushes up in the mid, if they need him, he will be there in a very quick instant. And with that naked inhibitor open, though, Quantic, they can really not spread anyone thin. They know it's vulnerable. They know Dignitas has more damage, but this is a huge risky play. Crumbs with a taunt over the wall, but meanwhile the rest of Dignitas is out there in his base. Yan Tenso wants the kill. He's out for blood, does get the shutdown, but look what's happening in your base. That inhibitor is now gone. So kill for an inhib. You have to question, hey, was it really worth it?
That is a fast horse.
That's a very fast horse.
Yeah, not completely worth it. It's going to prevent Dignitas from pushing on any further. But the thing is, they got the objective they're looking for. They can just back off, grab a dragon, or actually catch off Nian. Nian thought they were going to go for the global objective, stuck around a little bit too long. I'm a Cutie Pie going to pick up that kill, get the buffs on him.
I think they were both a bit surprised. Like Cutie Pie's just sitting there, is like, oh, it's a Vayne.
A free Vayne, yeah.
Oh, hey, I like a free Vayne. You like a free Vayne? Yeah, I like a free Vayne. Just gone.
And sitting even 200 CS for both Vayne and Corki. That would have been an interesting fight if Vayne were a little bit more prepared for it. But instead, it went pretty quickly. Wow, a giant fast horse slowing everyone else down as well. The ultimate is going to be coming out from high L9. That's going to start the initiation, but they're all grouped up. Anivia going to be able to chunk down too. That's a double kill. He's going to try to further it up, but no, going to be a good guy and give it a little bit more to Cutie Pie, forcing the flash out from Yuzuki. Wild Turtle going to have to back out, but he still has flash available if he wants to get aggressive. But aggression is not what he wants at the moment. It is a 2v4, but in the end, he's back up in here. He's got full health. He's got full mana. He can start to make something happen. The only issue is he's level 14 against the level 17 Skara and level 16 I'm a Cutie Pie. Not a good situation.
Yeah, and also Dominate is not here with the team. He sacrificed himself. Took a quick trip to the glue factory after meeting up with that tower. But he will be back. Well, he is back. He's going to be back in 10 seconds, just, you know, without a head. He had to find a pumpkin, but that's neither here or there.
Yeah, pumpkins are tastier.
Pumpkins are tastier. Yeah.
Almost Thanksgiving.
It's all. Hey, this is true. This is true. So Dignitas now, after running amok once again in the lane of their choice, they managed to take out the mid inhib, managed to take out the tier 2 in bot. They're killing a little bit more time. They're grabbing all the objectives they can while they wait for the Baron to come back up. The Dragon also going to them. That goal lead is staggering, 15K at the 31-minute mark, 13 to 27 in terms of the kills. Got another pause coming on in, but just look at how well all of Dignitas is itemizing. They have so much gold, they don't know what to do with it anymore. You got the Trinity and the Last Whisper, and you got a Negatron Cloak, which I assume will actually be made into a QSS in a little bit for Cutie Pie. Lulu, she's been going on. She's upgraded the Fieldstone into the Shirelias, still is holding on to that hard gold, and we may also see we may actually see a Zeke's Herald come in too, just for a little bit extra help for the rest of the team. Yeah, Hecarim actually got quite a bit of damage in him too. He's got a Trinity Force of his own. Not to mention that Glacial Shroud going to be built into a Frozen Heart later. That's really going to shut down a lot of Quantic's damage, especially up when that gets finished up.
Yeah, this build from I Will Dominate really focused around doing damage early and then also having the sustain to keep it going. What we were talking about before is he was not the one to go for that Oracles, where you usually see the jungler grab it relatively early after their first or second large item. And we're going to have another pause. Double elixirs here on Scar. They're really gearing up. The first inhibitor is already down. They still have a lot of turrets defending their base, so they can go for a very strong base race if they need to. Something that it's not even going to be in Quantic's mindset at the moment for it to be a possibility.
They can't even really leave their base for any extended period of time at this point.
They only have one ward on the map to know the positioning of the Dignitas team. That's not really where you want to be. No Baron buff available for either player, but that little worm's going to be coming out of his cove once again relatively soon. And when it does, Dignitas is going to be ready for it, whereas Quantic will not.
Crumbs, once again, split pushing down bot. That ult's coming back up in 10 seconds, and there was plenty of time for him to actually rejoin the fight. And the last one, he was able to get a fantastic taunt after like 2-3 members of Quantic, and just helped turn the team fight even more into their own favor. Dominate leading the charge back on over to enemy. Blue buff going to be grabbing that. Skara holding on to that one. That's going to be huge. Skara has a Banshee's Veil on him too, so he's like, hey, I didn't need that Rod of Ages anymore. That's going to be fine. I just build straight magic resist and keep myself safe.
Yeah, keeping himself safe is going to be the name of the game, especially since he went for an Elixir of Brilliance and the other red elixir for the damage that he's going to be trying to dish out. So just trying to have a little bit of extra health. Doesn't want to fall anytime soon, at least not early in the fight. This is going to allow Crumbs to continue split pushing that much longer. If this 4-man team for Dignitas, the 4-man squad, is going to keep even more of Quantic occupied, that's going to allow them to take down another inhibitor. But the wall going off, that's going to prevent Nian from safely getting away. He's going to have to tumble, but Crumbs backs off with just a couple extra health here. However, the Baron is up. The entire jungle is warded for Dignitas. As soon as they don't see an opportunity to keep pushing on here, they will be able to back off, grab that buff immediately. Quantic's going to need to respond instantaneously if they want a chance to come back into this fight.
Super Minion still pushing in the mid, but hopefully not for long. Though he says what Quantic's probably saying for themselves. He's still split pushing down there. Crumbs, he will not be taken off of that inhibitor as far as he can help it. But Toy getting chunked out huge by Caston though. But look at that inhib going down. Look at you split the moment he sees anyone get near him. That is a taunt. He needs to get away, and now all of Dignitas, they have been distracted. The distraction tactic is working. Crumb should actually be able to get away from us. Is his flash up too? Yes, it is. Here we got over to wall. There is the respawn flash coming from Turtle. There is the wave. Crumbs has fallen, but so will the Baron.
You have slain Baron Nashor.
Yes, you have.
But the blue inhibitor has respawned. It's going to buy a little bit of time for Quantic. However, that's an extra target for Dignitas to go for.
Here's also the blue buff. Enemy
yeah.
blue.
Wild Turtle making a good decision here. Yes. He knows that Dignitas doesn't want to go in without Crumbs. They don't want to risk the 4v5 when they can just wait an extra 30 seconds and have that full roster.
Right.
He realizes he has a couple seconds to go and take the buff out of the enemy jungle. Beautiful decision making there from Wild Turtle. That's what they need to do to come back into this game. But they're going to need to do it about 15 to 30 more times.
Hey. Longer games have happened.
That is very true. It's only 33 minutes in. We've seen games go up until almost the 70-minute mark. When that happens, everyone will hit 18. Everyone will have their full build. Whereas if we take a look at the levels right now, approaching 18, but we still see Nian only level 16. High L9, the top bruiser, which you usually see having some of the highest experience on the team, only level 15. That's a pretty large experience deficit compared to IMQTPie and Scar at 17 and 18, with Dominate also at 18.
Even Batoy, level 15, but he's still 2 levels over Lemon Nation, who's still only 13. The only, Scara, Crumbs, Dominate, they're all 18. QTPie, he just needs like 2 or 3 minions. If he does, well, if Scar didn't completely take out that Wraith Camp, that could have been enough. But yeah, once this next push in, QTPie should actually be starting this next fight level 18. Will be maxed out in experience also, so it's not looking good. Quantic, they have Dignitas at their front door here. They want to retake that mid inhib. Crumbs is back, pushing down bot like a boss. He's actually just straight up, well, he could ignore the minions if he wanted to and go straight in for the inhib, but he wants the minion support. He wants the wave to come on in with him. So even if he does have to go join the fight, all the minions should actually be able to make quick work of the inhib and give him ample time. Wild Turtle out in front with the wave, wants to slip away. There's the ice wall coming in. Hagrum going straight on over to the Aurelia and to the Nude. There's the Malphite ult to start things. They got the Nude ult, but will not finish. QTPie getting that kill off on the side. QTPie tries to get away, but Corky will be shot down. Dominate looking to run interference, but there's Vayne. Yentenso off on the side, doing damage, doing quite a bit, getting a kill onto Shen. Dominate, the only one remaining, and that is actually a 1 for 4.
A 1 for 4 for Quantic, and they still have their inhibitor up. They're going to be able to push down. They've got 40 seconds before any sort of serious defense is going to come out of Dignitas. That's going to be 2, maybe even 3 turrets taken down here. Niantanso just going to start tanking it at the moment. They want Yazuki to get in there, but the Bloodthirster onto Niantanso. He's going to allow him to get that health back almost immediately. That's 1 turret down. Only another 20 seconds for them. They got to make something happen right now. But I will dominate in the area. What we were talking about before is he is extremely tanky. He's got that Frozen Heart on him as well. Going to be able to delay some of the damage coming out from Quantic. They need to back off at this point. Maybe pick up the Dragon that's there. Get them so that they're that much closer. But that team fight, beautifully played by Quantic. That's exactly what they needed to have happen.
So
they're still down by 12k gold, though.
That's 1 down. So
let's count that as like 4 or 5, because that was a pretty good chain of events for them. We saw Crumbs, they were a little overconfident on the Dignitas side, stayed pushing that bottom lane a little bit too long. Once it was the first player for Dignitas falling, that's when it came in. He really needed to come in before then, continue to add on his taunt, continue to add the tankiness that is available to him, and that aura from the Sunfire Cape and the Randuin's Omen.
Also keep in mind, though, that Dominate did manage to leave that fight. He's the only one remaining on Dignitas with that Baron buff. But also keep in mind, he's also the frontline initiator for Dignitas. Running out in front, running interference, also has the ultimate actually back up again too, but also the Baron buff going to give him so much regeneration in these fights. But here we go. Sans buff on most of the team actually is now down, so Baron going to be coming back up at the 40-minute mark, but Dominate out in front along with Crumbs. If they can get the initiation they want, they can have another shot actually taking out this mid inhib, but the Elastia will just back off for a second. Another pause coming through. Hopefully there's no huge issues actually plaguing Dignitas.
Yeah, we do not want them to have any situation where they can't play at their peak. There's a lot of pressure on Dignitas. They need to take these games now so that they can have an advantage to be the top team in this round robin. It's not the top 2 that make it through. It's only the top 1 team. A lot of pressure for these guys, but Quantic looking to try to prevent them from getting that at least anytime soon. They're going to start pushing back a little bit, but Scar is going to rally his troops. They're going to back around, defend the mid turret for a little while here.
Quantic pushing on up. They know the mid tier 3 is their best bet, and right now Dignitas, they are a little split. Dominate off on the side, Elimination with the snowball. Yuzuki going in for the equilibrium strike. Dominate has actually been caught out, but here comes the Shen ult. It has been forced. Crumbs has no other option if he wants to save the horse, but Elimination off on the side, a little bit too far away from Rif's team. The missiles from Corky doing too much, and what was, no, he's got an Iron Solari on him. Interesting, I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, that's an item that will start to scale with the level of the player that it's on. Not the best item to get on your support until you get to the ultra late game, because they are the lowest level on the team. Yeah. But he is 15, so it's not too far away from the max potential coming out of it. Not a bad choice. Gives a lot of tankiness to the overall team. Well, not gives a moderate amount.
It gives a little bit more breathing room, because we're seeing Quantic engage in all these team fights. They're very clumped up, and anything, if they can just stand and last another like second or 2 within the pressure coming in from Scar's ultimate, or again, that shield can actually protect from most of the damage coming in from something like Dominate's ult. Every second counts, especially this late into the game.
Yeah, every second counts, and the later it goes, the more seconds that expire, the less that gold lead for Dignitas really makes a difference. When you get to a full build on any of your champions, which Vayne is extremely close, only one more item, and she'll be there, it doesn't matter how much gold that PewDiePie has, they're going to be exactly even. So now that the Guardian's Angel is there, she's going to be a little bit more capable of being aggressive at the same time.
2 of them, one on Caston, one on Aurelia, one on Vayne, I'm sorry, and that's a lot to deal with, and those are the 2 champs that Dignitas have actually been focusing down the most. So,
and they're going to continue to focus down.
They're still. It's not going to stop them, because they know it's still their best bet to get those engages where they want. But meanwhile, look at this. You got everyone from Quantic. They're now realizing something might be up. They don't have any vision right now on the Dignitas. They only see the Shen. They have an idea right now that Dignitas may be starting to Baron, but I think Dig may be looking to bait them out here on the side brush here in the river. Quantic is suspicious right now, and they have every right to be so, because if they get caught out here, this could be it. Ward off in the brush, nice. Do not face check that thing with your face. Have a ward do it for you. But Dominate is still on the side, another ward. There's the wall coming in from Scar, but not going to catch anyone from Quantic in front of it. But still, this dangerous tug of war continues on here in the North River. Ultimate coming in from Scar. There's a Shirelia's pop pile 9. Not going to be able to clear as much distance as he'd like to. There's a slow down on to Dominate. Yuzuki making the best of the situation. There's the ultimate coming in, but Malphite is way too split from the rest of his team. Wild Growth coming in from Lulu. You got Dominate out in front, running interference. Elimination throwing down the ultimate. But Crumbs, he does get the shield on down. Malphite going down. Not Hecarim going down. Yuzuki split from the rest of the team. Dignitas still playing a very good defensive game. Scara will get the revive. He does come back. He's got a G of his own, but there's a triple kill coming in from the Intenso over the wall. There's a Guardian Angel from Yuzuki making its play. PewDiePie over the wall, Trinket missiles. That's a quadra kill for the Intenso. Lulu should be able to get away with that extra speed buff, but Quantic doing quite a bit here. Glitter Lances in behind.
We were talking about hyper carries before this game. That is the definition of a hyper carry. The amount of damage that Niantanso is able to dish out. He was able to chunk down everyone on Dignitas. I don't know why Dignitas was completely ignoring him. He did have great positioning, but that's the focus that they really need to zero in on. If Niantanso stays alive through a fight, they're going to be able to turn around and continue to push, which this is going to be the first inhibitor of the game falling in favor of Quantic. No inhibitors are down for on their side, so already we see the advantage starting to go back into Quantic's favor. If they can pick up this Baron, the value of a Baron, if you have it on 5 players of your team, essentially equivalent to 10,000 gold of items. That is the difference in Dignitas versus Quantic, and that's what can really make the difference in the next couple fights.
But all of Dignitas is up, dominate out in front. They have a very limited amount of time where if they want to, they can actually rush this Baron and try and take it before Quantic can ever actually get there. Corki, I'm a cutie pie. He is the slowest one on the team. He is the last to come on back, and he's trying to make his way quickly to the Baron area once again. But all those wards that Quantic has placed down earlier, that's going to be a lot of time to try and clear up their remains still there. Providing vital information. Quantic Niantenso getting a little bit too aggressive though. Out in front, popping the Shirley's. There's Dominate out in front, ulting, and the 4 members of Quantic Wild Growth coming in again. There's a noodle, will be interrupted by the charge, but Dominate gonna be first one to go down. Niantenso once again off to the side, double kill. Macier repeat, Scar coming, Egg, triple kill, gets the kill once again. Niantenso left unchecked, and Quantic should be able to push in on this. This might actually be game.
This is a ridiculous situation for Quantic. They're just ignoring the 2 players that are still up for Dignitas, taking down the first Nexus Turret. They have all 5 members alive. They're going to be able to take down the second one 40 seconds before there's any reinforcements for Dignitas. Wild Turtle keeping them out of the zone, but no, Niantenso's just going to take down the Nexus. Quantic bringing it to 1-1 in the series, something we were not expecting halfway through this game, but they were able to stick through it. Amazing victory for Quantic, forcing it into a 3rd game. This is what they're looking to have happen. Their run for IPL5 is not over yet. It's going to go into a game 3. Can they take it away from Dignitas?
And if they win this one against Dignitas, they may very well force a 3-way tie situation, which, hey, more games for you guys is always a good thing. And for most of that game, Dignitas had an insane gold lead in excess of 10K, yet just good positioning, great fights, and also being able the ability for Niantenso to be left unchecked over on the side while he's just plugging away. A quadra and a triple back-to-back fights, because we hit the very late game to the point where gold really just starts to not matter anymore.
Yeah, it was all about the positioning. Niantenso, he had 0 kills. Nothing on the board at all for a good chunk of that game, ending it with 12 kills, 6 deaths, 1 assist, coming up huge in those later fights. That was all of what it was, is he was in the right position. The rest of his team formed a beautiful front line for him. Turtle kind of was a nice little target, pulling away a lot of the aggression so that Dignitas didn't focus 100% on him, and that was a huge oversight from him.
Yeah.
We're going to have to see if Dignitas needs a couple bits of a breather to come back from that. That's a 43-minute game. A lot of disappointment probably there for the end of the game. We don't want them yelling at each other going into the 3rd game. Definitely a time for them to reset, reflect what they did wrong, maybe ban out Vayne for next game.
And also remember the stats they were feeding us before we get into 8-0.
Yep, this is the first time they've lost to Quantic in the past week. Scrims, real matches, anything.
That's they're definitely bothered right now. I'm sure all of the GAs being bought on the same back through for a loop. I cannot imagine Dignitas not banning Vayne for game 3. It has to happen. I don't think they have a choice. Otherwise, they could very well see a repeat of what happened here. And we're getting dangerously close, because if it's, like I said before, we could be hitting that 3-way tie situation. I'm relatively certain that Dignitas does not want to have to face that, but we'll see.
Of course not, but we'll be right back after a short commercial break. We'll get these guys back in the game. Hopefully they don't need too much time before they go into Game 3, because we want to find out how this group's going to go down. We want to see who the 16th team going to IPL5 is, so we can start getting ready, get our signs prepared, and get really into the game.
We'll be back in just a little bit. Game number 3, Dignitas versus Quantic for the IPL5 wildcard qualifier. We'll be back in just a little bit.